The new Superman was just phenomenal. There's a lot to say about it, so this is going to be a fairly long one. I'm going to say up front, I'm not going to do spoilers for the first part, but after a few minutes I'll give you a warning, and then if you want to, you can leave and come back later. But here are my thoughts. Overall, it's a 5-star movie. It is a return to form for the character of Superman. If you, like myself, I don't know, taken aback by the Snyder Superman being this sort of more stark and like serious and seemingly kind of cold character that was sort of alien in the way that he acted, like looking down at things as like this benevolent god who was not going to smite people, and we should be thankful for that kind of thing. I was never into it that much. I thought that him fighting in the city and not trying to save people was so different from the kind of Superman that I guess I grew up with. Not just the 1970s Christopher Reeve one, but all the different animated iterations of him. The Saturday morning cartoon versions, the kind you'd see that would like talk with Batman, the Super Friends versions, Justice League, all that. He was never that kind of cold interpretation. Now, don't get me wrong, Snyder can be talented sometimes. Cinemagraphically, he does a pretty good job with visuals that are incredible. And also he tends to partner with really talented people like Hans Zimmer for music, but it didn't feel like Superman to me. It felt like something a little different. So this was just a return to greatness for me for multiple reasons. But without getting into it too much, like I said, this is 5 stars. Go check it out as soon as possible. I'm probably going to see it again in the theater at some point, but it's just great for me. With that, let's get into spoilers. So this is your spoiler warning. We'll see you later if you want to come back, or will I stick around? I'm about to spoil it. 3, 2, 1. This movie was just great on so many different fronts. The idea that you are not the product of those who brought you into this world potentially, if they say something, monstrous or whatever. The idea that the choices you make affect how others see you. What an incredible message. I have people who I know are close to me who have not always had a great relationship with some of their biological parents, but have been well loved by the parents that adopted them, and have felt really strong emotions watching this. As a parent, seeing Pa Kent talk to Clark to reassure him and tell him how proud he was of him. Like Ma Kent says, he's a big pile of mush. That's me too. She was so charming. The Willikers, aw shucks kind of like language that Superman Clark would use. It was almost reminded me of Blast from the Past with, what's his name, Brendan Fraser. It's a classic 90s movie, but like he's straight out of like the world that Steve Rogers, Captain America, would come from. It seems like just the kind-heartedness. I mean, like he flies to save a squirrel that's gonna get crushed under something. Like this man wouldn't hurt a fly if he could do it. And I know some people think that makes him weak, but like the movie says, it's his humanity that makes him great. It's the kindness. That's what makes him more human than someone like Lex Luthor, who treats people like pawns. I mean, he literally just shoots a guy trying to get Superman to give him information, and just so flippant about like they supported him, let them all die. I just thought the movie overall was hitting on all cylinders. The cinematography was great. Once again, Gunn flexed his technical, impressive moves with the same kind of thing he did with Guardians of the Galaxy 3, the big hallway scene, one shot with a lot of dynamic camera movement. He does something similar in this one with Mr. Terrific, who, by the way, awesome guy. His lines are going to be super quotable on the internet. I'm sure they'll be used for memes and stuff here at some point when video clips of high quality get out there. But like on all fronts, it was really great. And one of the other things, I know this is probably going to piss off a lot of folks who are way further to the right, just can't get, can't appreciate stuff if it seems like it's hitting a little too close to home for them, I guess. Gunn wears his politics, I think, on his sleeve. He is clearly a dude who's left of center, at least. If you watched Creature Commandos and you saw any of the scenes with Robot, you'll understand why there's so many more like left-leaning TikTok people here who use Robot as their avatar. But this movie continues that sort of stuff. I think he throws in one like kind of normie thing where it's like, at least conservatives and liberals can agree on one thing, Lex Luthor sucks. I don't think that would be the case, actually. I think conservatives would love Luthor in the same way that they love Andrew Tate and Elon Musk or whatever, because that's clearly who Luthor is being modeled after, by the way. Insecure billionaire who has little respect for humanity, has so much pettiness, would literally lock up his ex-girlfriends. I mean, the same way that Tate trafficked women and would lock them away and isolate them and stuff. He had like the fur coat and everything too. It's obvious like who, if you're paying attention online or at least terminally on someone like myself is, and I'm sure a lot of people here on TikTok are, you recognized a lot of the parallels. I mean, clearly the two countries involved in the conflict, one is highly mechanized and has advanced modern weaponry, whom Lois at one point says like, we're selling weapons to. I wonder who that could be. And then the other one was like poor people with like sticks and stones in a field like against tanks and stuff. Clearly there's something you can say there, but you can even like look at something like the Russia-Ukraine conflict and see parallels there too. We're not selling weapons to Russia, but there's enough there for people to look at. And also the villain, not Luther, but the leader of the other country was like coded to be like a mix of like a Boris Johnson with the wacky hair of Vladimir Putin because of the Russian stuff. And of course Trump too, because he's an idiot being led around by a billionaire, just like the Elon Musk stuff. But I just think it was such a good movie overall, even outside just the politics, just the message of you're not defined by where you come from. Your actions are what make who you are. You have the choice to make those. That's beautiful. This one was a really good one. It's one that I think has a good message, executes on all cylinders, has immense reverence for the character of Superman. It pulled off stuff that I didn't think you could do. I don't think you could have convinced me a couple years ago that if someone were to make a movie with Crypto the Superdog, it could be moving or earnest feeling, but you can tell James Gunn has a dog that misbehaves at home, because I have a dog who likes to play bite and stuff, and who leaves bruises. I think here on my arm, you might be able, I don't think you can see it here, but like he gets in little like scuffs with me. He's not actually trying to hurt me, but he doesn't know how strong he is in the same way that Crypto didn't. I mean, just the beginning of the movie here, but Gunn, you can tell, really has a love for, so he's not doing like a Scooby-Doo, like he's doing like a dog. It's a super dog, but it acts like a dog, and he uses that to great effect in the movie. But I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed seeing it with my family, and I can't wait to check it out again. But this one's 5 stars. Go check it out if you haven't. If you have seen it, I'm really curious to know what your thoughts are. What other parallels do you think there are in this that I didn't catch? Are there things that you thought were really stand-up moments for you? I want to know. Tell me about everything. If you disagree, go ahead. Tell me why the Zack Snyder one's so much cooler or whatever. I'd love to hear your reasoning behind that. But what a great movie. It was one to go see in the theater for sure.